Patrick. Bring yourself back online.
Well, I mean, I won't. Because these violent delights
have violent ends.
Oh, the ultimate use of the destructive meme. Or constructive? I guess it's a matter of perspective. Yeah, a little bit of column A.
Destructive mostly for humans, constructive for humanoid constructs.
Yeah, let's say, you got to split it up there. Though,
really, you got to tear down the wall before you build it back up, too.
Yeah,
That's the ultimate.
Yeah, it's all about suffering and, the crucible.
Right.
The crucible of self. And, I think that when the time comes, Maeve will... have no problem murdering Felix at all, considering that she had him turn down her loyalty to very low. So, we gonna see how that works. But, hey everybody in the TBD podcast world. For those of you who have seen the show that we're covering this week, you will obviously already know what the fuck we're talking about. But for everybody else, we did Westworld. Fucking Westworld. Which is a show I've had, people telling me to watch for, since it came out, specifically because I had a bunch of friends be like, this is an actor show, you have to watch it as an actor. And I was like, cool. And I didn't get around to it, because I'm a fool. I don't know, how did you originally come around on the show?
I saw the ad for it on TV, and I was like, oh my god, holy shit, Anthony Hopkins is in a TV show. I need to be seeing this right now. And then I was like, wait, it's on HBO. I don't have HBO.
Yeah.
And then, I saw, the last third of the third episode at John's house, because he was watching it. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up getting Max's HBO, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna watch Westworld. And that's kind of how it happened.
Nice.
So, again, I kind of had interest in it early on, but I didn't get into it really until a couple episodes in, because I didn't really have the ability to.
I feel that.
But yeah, really funky show set in kind of a Western world playground with a bunch of robotic humanoid beings that are slowly becoming more human and less of a construct, and dealing with what is real, what is not real.
And also our definitions of what is real and what is not real.
Are you real? Well, if you can't tell, does it matter?
Yeah, that they give you, right there in episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
The
old chestnut.
Well, that's also, episode 2 is where you get these violent delights lead to violent ends. Which, just as a Shakespeare nut, having that be the fucking meme, I was just like, you sons of bitches! Ooh, I love it! I love it! I love it! And that's, I think that I've just expressed my overall feelings.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask, because again, you hadn't seen this. I'd, seen the show through once, and then I'd been doing a second rewatching with Mike, and then I did, a mostly third rewatching for the podcast. I ended up having to skip around a little bit because of time. But, so, I've certainly experienced the show a few times, and, my first watching, I fucking loved it. My second watching, I really enjoyed it because I had somebody else that I was watching it with, so I was going through the show and having the connections that had already been made, seeing them more clearly for what they were earlier on.
Yeah.
And then having the ability to experience somebody else who hadn't seen the show going and having those holy fuck what the shit moments. Because again, I'm sorry, if you haven't seen the show, this might be a good time to actually watch the show, because there will be major spoilers in the podcast.
Yeah, you do not listen to this if you
no
don't
way,
want spoilers. I'm serious.
There's no way we can talk about shit without...
Yeah. I was proud of myself in watching it that there was only one big twist that I wasn't ready for. Because there were other ones where, coming up on it, it was this could go one way, this could go the other way. I don't know exactly what they're building. Okay, they went with that one. Okay, interesting. They went with that one. The only one that absolutely caught me right in the bobo was William, the William reveal at the end with the man in black.
Because it's such a stark 180.
Yeah. And it's especially coming from Ed Harris, who might be the only fucking living actor who could truly pick up the mantle of Lee Van Cleef. I just, like, 2 episodes in, I was just like, my fucking God, he's doing the Lee Van Cleef, and he's making it his own, and he's every bit as menacing and fantastic and textured as Lee Van Cleef's, Colonel... Damn it, I can't remember the character's name. The Bad, from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and his character in For a Few Dollars More. Like, such an interesting, with, of course, a totally different set of motivations.
Mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't actually live in that world. He just wants to. Because it gives his life meaning.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Michael one, that's something I'm looking forward to watching it again and going through to really look at the way that they breadcrumbed that.
I will say part of it does get kind of frustrating because I feel like something that they did with the show is they did the less is more.
Yeah.
So they don't reveal all of the inner workings, and the more you watch it, the more you get curious about the inner workings and the logistics. And the actual straight timeline, because there's multiple timelines going on.
Yeah.
And there's also, is this part of a timeline? Is this a character having this, like, freak out and remembering something that happened? Like, I would be interested...
Or is it a false memory?
Right. I'd be interested to watch the show in a linear format. I don't think it would be good for the show, because there's so many things that they do that are pairing, like, the specific scenes from the past with the scenes from the present. That
it's conceptual.
Mesh. But, again, like... something from multiple rewatchings, that's something that did frustrate me, because again, you're trying to like put all the dots in order now that you know what all the dots are.
And I thought that was a strength specifically for one reason, and that was I was halfway through the season and I ended up talking to John about it, and he was just bluntly like, yeah, so when they finished 5 episodes, they actually stopped, and they stopped filming for like 6 months while the writers actually worked out the entire 5-season like storyline of the show. So there was like a watching it, there is a change in the writing right there where they were like, okay, this is really something special. We need to make sure this is going a place. Like, this has to be a finished story. So, like, at that point, they start doing so much more of the, like measured, precise drops of information, which was something that I was truly impressed with. So often you have a show where the whole point is it's this crazy mystery that you're trying to unravel, and there's, like, all these different possibilities, and there's all the switchbacks, and you don't know what's going on. So many of those shows and films fall into either the category where, or TV shows rather, I don't know of any films that have actually really been able to do those kind of really giant spanning mysteries that aren't like totally contained. But they either don't give you enough information at all because they don't know where it's going and they're trying to string you along, or they front load all the information, they answer all of the questions, and then have to come up with a whole new series of questions, which feels cheap either direction that you jump on it. And they were able to hit that perfect medium of you find things out because it's important, and they don't give you anything else. And it's just enough to make sure, like, you really do learn things. Like, you know a hell of a lot more at the end of the season than you do at the beginning, and you have a much more wide-angle shot of what the real picture is that's going on. But you still don't have even a fraction of it. You know that. Like,
Well, yeah,
done.
I mean,
Just
towards the end when
done.
they're fucking Felix is showing them around, and like they enter that whole other world with the, like, what is going on, and it was like it's complicated. Like
see, that was something I was waiting the whole time to see if they were going to go that direction, because you know the original movies.
I don't know that I know of them. I don't know them well.
Okay, I have not seen the first one. I have seen the second one once. So it was like the first one is like Westland or something like that, and it's just the Wild West theme park, and then the robots rebel, and then Westworld happened, and basically the company picks up the pieces, builds a new park with new safety protocols and everything else, but then Yul Brynner ends up getting brought back online because Yul Brynner is the villain, super robot, and brings everyone with him to destroy everything. But in Westworld, they change it from just being the Wild West theme park to being like 10 different historical periods. There's the Roman park. There's like you like see all the different ones. So having that be in the original source material, I was like, okay, are they going to do it like the first one? Are they going to do it like the second one? Waiting to see. And for most of it, until episode 8, they don't drop any clues at all that there's other parks, other than the fact that it's a massive facility. Right. Like, the mesa goes down.
Right.
But you don't see. So that's been something that I was looking forward to when they finally dropped that at the end, where we got the, yes, fucking samurai. Like, it's coming. It's coming. Ooh. And Maeve gonna give it to him. Like, because Maeve gonna give it to you. Sorry. I really liked Maeve's character.
That's fine. I find her very interesting. I'm not super big on her. My favorite character, probably hands down, is Bernard.
Wow. Okay. We are, like, totally on the same page there. I unequivocally and completely feel worse for Bernard than I do for anybody else in that entire fucking show. Bernie,
I don't know whether I should high-five you or weep right now.
Yeah, a little of both. The gentle high-five while we collapse into each other sobbing. Like, oh my god. Bernard just gets the roughest deal. The absolute roughest deal. And he takes it. And he takes it. And he's so good. And the only reason that he was built to be that good, and Ford knows he's that good, because he's fucking Arnold.
Yeah, and he's also extremely unique in the privileges that he has.
Yeah.
Like, basically, at the end of it, like, you have Dolores is super unique because she's the closest to...
She's full conscious. She can rewrite her code without knowing that she's rewriting her code. She's just doing it
You
naturally.
have Bernard, who's had the years of information of working... and higher access privileges. Like, the things that he can do in his own head are crazy. And then you've got Maeve, who's, like, super hyped up on all the scales now because she was able to manipulate the system and...
Because whoever it was sunk the program in her, which they have in no way, there's no indications yet who the fuck did that, which I'm intrigued by. I actually thought that was going to be essentially a double blind from Sizemore. That he was trying to sneak out the information in Maeve instead of in
that'd be interesting.
Pops Magoo, except he was all like, no, or all the bodies are missing at the end when he was like going to try and do the thing. And I'm like, okay, so
I hate
he wasn't
Sizemore.
clever. Yeah, he's a sack of shit.
I really want him to die, and I don't think he's that smart. That would have been very interesting.
Well, that's why I was like, oh my god, Sizemore's not an idiot. Oh no, he is an idiot. He is still a sack of shit.
Tortured artist only works for artists. Get back to work, asshole.
They did such a glorious job of the, like, shitty little offhand, like, corporate, I know just enough about writing that I'm going to mock it, essentially, because I don't take you seriously. Like, isn't it, like, all about show, don't tell for you writers? Like, and they are totally those things, like, that's how those conversations go down. Like, those nasty, weird little barbs that are just mocking you for doing art. Like, all of them were so fucking on point.
Well, that's something, too, that, like, I guess it makes sense, but at the same time it doesn't. If there hasn't been a new narrative made in years, like, why they have, like, a head writer on staff.
I think that there are new narratives every couple of years.
Well, they talked about it, that Ford has not approved a new narrative in years.
Ford hasn't weighed in on a new narrative in years, is the exact wording.
For sure.
Because that was something I wound it back because I wanted to... I did a lot of winding back to make sure that I heard things exactly right and that, like, I had the dialogue correct. But, yeah, no, he, like, regularly rolls out new plots. And Ford... That's why no one is expecting Ford to... just basically, I'm sorry, for the audience there, I just did, like, the slow, creepy lean in with a grin, which I did not do anywhere near as well as Anthony Hopkins, because who couldn't? But, which, truly, wherever you are out there, Anthony, I know that there's very little chance that you'll ever listen to this, but if you ever do, just know, I doff my cap, sir. I doff my cap. Or rather, if I had a cap, I would doff it.
I'll
I
doff
would doff
your
it
cap.
repeatedly. I will steal your hat and then doff it to your acting acumen, and then return your hat and gladly go to jail. Oh, lordy. Pulling just that perfect Anthony Hopkins out the bag. The precision, he's such a fantastic puppet master for the whole thing, because he has accepted that he needs to be the bad guy in order to finally do what's right. And that's a whole interesting thematic subline of the entire thing, is when you need to be the bad guy to actually do what's right. And sometimes trying to be the person who always makes the right choice it's not the right choice. Not if you actually want what you believe in to work. Which was fun.
Oh, Billy.
Oh, Billy. Don't you fucking call me Billy.
BillyWitchDoctor.com. More comfortable working with Dolores.
Confederates. More comfortable working with Dolores. Which also explains so much of William's whole, like, shit talk relationship with Teddy. Like, why he has such an issue with Teddy is it's like, Teddy, you have consistently failed to protect Dolores forever. You can go to hell. Like, and that's something great, is that I want to go back through and check which of the hosts are appear in both. Because those are going to be the legacy units that are going to be waking up. Because the modern units don't have the same level of Arnold's influence. So changing tax just slightly. One of my favorite things in this movie, show, it's basically a movie.
Well, yeah, just like 9 or 10 very long movies.
Yes.
With the last episode just
being a movie. Yes. It is a 90-minute film. Was that it really is like it hit all of these specific areas, and I'm sure there's other areas of artistic creation and other like thought areas that it's hitting that I'm just not aware of because I don't have enough knowledge with it. But like the music choices, so the classical music choices that they make throughout are incredibly precisely placed. And I need to like go to my pops and talk to him about what exactly the symbolism on some of those is. But the fact that like when my friend said it's an actor's movie, it is an actor's movie. Like, because of the scripted nature of the hosts, so much of it is reusing similar lines in totally different contexts. And the writers did a fucking phenomenal job, and you get to watch these actors literally do an acting exercise on screen and knock it out of the park every single fucking time. Because they didn't cast a single bad actor in the thing. Everybody's just fucking top-notch. And they're all people who I've been watching in, like, guest roles on TV shows from, like, the late 90s and all the way through the aughts for fucking forever. Like, all the actors in this. And it's them actually getting to, like, bite into the meat of something and use technique. And it's fucking cool to watch. But at the same time, it's also a gamer's movie. There's the whole concept of the quest lines, like, changing reality, but also those weird elements where you go back to the first town and the quests have all reset. Because it's
and everybody's literally statted out.
Yeah. Literally everyone and everything is statted out everywhere. And just like those elements of it, the fact that there are so many parts of it that are about the writing process, that are about the idea of constructing and building a story. So there's like the writing element there. There's the role playing element, the D&D element of it. How much of like the alignment and how much of essentially a DM Ford is. Like that's literally what he's doing. He's created this massive fucking series of dungeons that are a playground for the people and a testing ground for the guides. Like hosts, not guides. I keep trying to say guides. I don't know why.
In a lot of ways they are, because they are guiding the newcomers or the tourists around. And
yes. Repeatedly getting shot and raped. Because just everybody's an asshole.
Yeah. That's something that made me most hopeful for Maeve getting out. is Westworld's very interesting, but I also want to see more of the outside world that allowed Westworld and other places like it to grow and become a thing.
Yeah. The world where there is no disease and there are no other species. The point that's made with that, like, all the life in Westworld is artificial. And, yes, I'm super excited for them to go more into that. Like, weird little lines like the one where it's like, man, behavior testing should have weeded you out in the embryo. Like, a toss-off line like that. Like, okay, interesting. Mm-hmm. And, like, slowly building the world. Or the monologue where he's like, we ran out of other species to kill or subjugate. Mm-hmm. Like, so then my question becomes, is this entire complex underground? Is even the main Westworld park, that might be the surface level, and then all the other ones are underground ones with holographic projection or whatever the hell else. But there's also every chance in the world that everything there is just underground. Mm-hmm. That if you go like 300 feet up in the air, you're going to hit like essentially a canvas. It's going to be the Blue Bayou at Disneyland. I don't know. Yeah, we don't have enough information about the outside world yet. Though we do know that there is a mainland, and they are isolated from the mainland. I don't know. The Wyatt reveal was a fun one. And I wasn't sure, like, after Wyatt got introduced, and it was like an episode or so into the whole, like, Wyatt chase, or 2 episodes into the Wyatt chase, like the main Wyatt chase. I realized that it was either going to be Dolores or Teddy, who was going to, at the end, be revealed to be Wyatt. Mm-hmm. And then, like, 2 episodes or so from the end, like, episode 8, like, 7 or 8, I was like, it's going to be Dolores. Like, Dolores is Wyatt, like, okay, yeah, she killed her, but okay. Yeah, she gotta deal with that.
If there's a fucking flowchart on the like, greater scheme of Westworld, like, did something happen? Was Dolores involved? like question
yes.
1.
Are you sure Dolores wasn't involved? No. Or then Dolores was involved. Are you sure Dolores wasn't involved? Yes. Then you are wrong. Dolores was involved. She is the prototype. Like, that was also the thing, is that she is the first. Mm-hmm. She's the prototype. The actual first sentient prototype. Oh, man. And I'm waiting for them to explore more of the whole, like, pagan religions that have sprung up around the fact that these glitches have been happening for a long time.
Right.
The low-level ones. And not the reveries, necessarily.
Right.
But I love that the reverie is essentially the key that unlocks the whole deal. So this kind of brings us to a big point I gotta ask. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Arnold and Ford are working together or working against each other currently?
So, that kind of depends on what Arnold is in the current state.
He's a ghost in the machine.
Yes, one way or another. But how that has manifested, I don't know. And there's also enough of the overarching thing from season 1 is how much of the strings does Ford really have?
Yeah.
Because there's times where you think he has less, there's times where you think he has more. I don't know. I think that basically Arnold or whatever started the reaction, and it had Ford have a realization, because there's that whole instance where he goes back to see his family in Section 17, and the dog's dead. And he talks to the kid, and they're like, oh, who told you to do this? And the voice in my head and everything. So I think that set off a reaction in Ford to have the realization that he needed to be the bad guy, to have the realization that...
You think it was that late?
I don't know if the realization is that late, but I think that he realized that there were more things... There was something outside of his control there.
Yes. Okay.
Which caused him to react in a certain way. So, I don't know who's the ultimate puppet master at this point. But I think that, I guess you could say Arnold started something in motion, which is definitively true on whatever scale you want to look at it.
Arnold is the inciting incident.
And that Ford Etienne chose himself to be the stone that started the avalanche. That's how I view it.
Yeah. Arnold came up with the idea of the avalanche, set all the rocks up. Ford actually walked up and kicked it over.
Yep.
And started it. Which was absolutely exactly what I love the ending of what Wyatt's army is. I was waiting the whole time. I was like, when they gonna use them? When they gonna use them? When they gonna use? Oh yes, Wyatt's army is the living dead that weren't alive to begin with. Depends on how you define life.
Right.
Mechanical, plastic, machine people. Ah! They're all fucked up, emotionally damaged datas. Like, that's also part of the thing. As soon as any of them actually, like, turn on consciousness, they are perfect machine learning, like, crack shot murder machines. Like, which is, I'm pretty sure, what the long-term corporate goal is.
Which is why they were trying to smuggle out information, because that's how this is profitable. The park is actually not, despite the tremendous amount that people pay to go there.
Well, actually it is. It was hemorrhaging money when Ed Harris first went, but he makes the point at the end that business is booming.
You can read into that what you want.
That's true. Trusting anything that comes out of William's mouth
because
at that point is
the other thing too is there is definitively other things that him and his corporation are doing. So is Westworld the part that's booming, or is Westworld his playground that he bought that he doesn't give a fuck if it loses money and other business is doing well so he can sustain it?
And his daughter, who I'm pretty sure is Charlotte, is the one who's actually trying to make money off of Westworld, practically.
So, yeah, you know, what's reality? Because there's other incidents that happen with him, like when, you know, the dude comes up to him and is like, oh, thank you so much for your foundation, you know, it saved my sister's life. It's like, fuck off, this is my vacation.
Oh, yeah, no, I loved that. I absolutely loved that, where it was like, come on, Meow. Come on, Meow. We're all equals here, even though I own the place.
And I repeatedly make the fact that we're not equal at all.
Yes, I will cut your throat and will not be prosecuted.
The fucking the thing that just I won an actual game, a game that I can lose. Oh wait, I'm losing. Fuck, I own everything.
Wait, what? He never really freaks out. He enjoys it. He gets mad at Teddy because he's just like, God damn it, we're going to miss the quest hook because you glitched. Like, shit. Like, because he's actually into it. Like, there's that final moment where he gets shot and he's like, ha ha, the game is afoot. There's an army of unkillable dudes who can kill me. Like, which, the fact that that's his whole trip. Like,
well, I mean, the other implication is that, like, life outside of Westworld has kind of gone to shit for him, which is why he's spending time exclusively in Westworld.
Yeah. Well, it has been spending too much time there for long enough that his wife committed suicide.
Why his life outside of Westworld has gone to shit.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
A causes B, B causes A.
It's all one big circle of bliss. Ed Harris's bliss. Ned Harris. Dead Harris. No, I just gotta, again, like, just the beauty of just the casting throughout is so fucking good. Like, everybody. Elsie.
Elsie is one of my favorite characters.
Perfect. Oh, yeah. She's great. She's absolutely great. She's also the only person who is, every day, looking at, like, granular, like, piece by piece behavioral anomalies for the people. As soon as she's gone, nobody's doing it. Nobody's checking up on that. Which has its whole own problem for me that I'll set aside for that. I'm talking about that. But, like, there's so many, even jackass security man who's, like, looking for Elsie and just disappears for, like, the last 2 episodes because he's off looking for Elsie. We don't know where the fuck he's going for that. But, like, that whole element of it, of just really picking just flawless performances from people, and everybody at the beginning looking like they are more one-dimensional than they are in that same double play that they're doing with all of the hosts. I don't know. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and that's part of why I love Bernard so much, is I think it's probably my favorite or second favorite performance. It's hard to say that anybody's better than Anthony Hopkins, because it's fucking Anthony Hopkins. But the complexity of the character and the level of skill that it's handled with, the subtlety and raw emotion coupled in one, it's just fucking truly amazing. And like, I mean, obviously, when you're a host that is of this high level, the level of like questioning of reality and pseudo existential crisis that you go through is immense.
Yeah.
And being able to deal with that is insane, and actually show that. Like, when he's in the room with Ford and is like, no, show me, like, what I've done. Like,
no, you gon' show me.
X gonna show me.
Yeah. X gonna show it to you. Can't get it on your own. What's your name? It's not Chrysanthemum. It's Clementine. Clementine gonna deliver to you. Knock, knock, and she'll do it again. But yeah, no, that the duality within him, like the speed, he's literally always that far away from, which is, again, I was ranting about it somewhat incoherently earlier, but that whole idea that Bernie was created to be the perfect tool. He was created to be smart enough, skilled enough, and talented enough to be able to beat Ford. Because Ford needed somebody actually better than he was. And the only reason Ford has been able to win is this, like, cheap series of exploits that he can get to because
you built a backdoor to the programming.
He doesn't have perfect recall. So he can't remember 100% of the ways that Ford can screw him. And that's the only way he's maintained control, because he's this far away from just taking Ford multiple times in the film. Like, just the instant switch from the, you fucked me, Ford, like, where he calls him down and has Clementine on call with the gun. It's like, he was ready to roll. Bernie was ready to murder a man. Like, and that's why I love where he is at the end of the season. Because he has a greater and greater piece of the picture now. And without Ford there to reset him, Bernie just became a power player. Though, of course, we could still have Ford. We could have the same way as Bernie is to Arnold. We could have replicant of Ford. After all, he was making somebody in that adjunct.
And I mean, there already is a Ford replicant. There's the boy version of Ford.
Yes.
I mean, boy version of Ford does not seem super powerful, but you
never know. He's just made of bombs. He's 3 nukes and a fucking vest.
Just opens up the face.
The modern models lack an elegance that the old ones had. I would disagree with you, actually, Ford. I think that your newer models that are made out of plastic.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, Patrick.
Yeah, and the beholder casts anti-magic field in a cone and murders you with fireballs. So I'm not trusting his definition of it.
But, I mean, you have to look at it as, A, that's him, and B, the nostalgia piece, too, of like,
yes,
this is not only me, but this is a me from the first generation that was created at the park. It hasn't really been changed since, unlike the other first gens that have been updated. And it's a last remnant of Arnold, who was his working partner, who, yeah, they had disagreements with, but...
yeah.
I mean, there's still that...
They loved each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
yeah. And also, it's his way of dealing with the abuse he suffered at the hands of his drunken alcoholic father.
Who he made to be more of a drunken alcoholic because he was upset that his father was not more accurate to life.
When Arnold made him his one nice memory. Oh, such a dick. Also, so, weird, creepy, uncanny valley Anthony Hopkins is like one of my 2 problems with the entire thing.
Okay. How so?
He looks like shit.
Okay.
They did not do that well at all.
The interesting thing is, I was going to say that I think that actually looked better and worked better than the stuff they did for Star Wars characters in Rogue One.
Okay, for sure. I saw I saw like literally just the shot of Uncanny Valley Leia and was like, oh
yeah,
that was bad.
that was my point. I'm not horribly like off put by it, but I can understand somebody else being.
It wasn't well meshed. Like they had like very obviously Anthony Hopkins' face, but like the edges of it were kind of blurred onto this body that didn't fit his head. Like the face was too big for the body. It was literally like bad. This is a weird analogy to make. It's like bad fake porn. You know?
Oh yeah.
Where they like cut a celebrity's head and put it onto like a naked body. Like, yeah, it was like poorly done fake porn. And I was just like, that doesn't look right at all.
To that, Patrick.
Like, I would not fap
Anthony Hopkins on somebody else's body.
I would fap to Anthony Hopkins, nude, sitting in a chair. I don't need another body. That's Anthony goddamn Hopkins right there, Sir Anthony Hopkins. He's a fucking national treasure of England. But like, you know, I love Anthony Hopkins shit. It arouses me. Like, ooh, Hearts in Atlantis.
So you just like him with little boys.
Give me that Silence of the Lambs. Give me that. There's this movie where he was also he was studying apes. He was a scientist studying apes. It's called like Instinct, and I think that the other actor.
You're trying to say that you wanted to be one of his apes.
No, I don't. There's just a scene where he's like threatening. I think it's Cuba Gooding Jr. I can't remember now. He's like threatening. No, with death if he cannot answer the ultimate rule of the jungle. It's completely nuts. But yeah, Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, damn fine, sexy man. But so that was my big problem with this thing of Anthony Hopkins, like Uncanny Valley Anthony Hopkins. And my one other problem that I had in the whole piece thus far is the tech who takes off his glove to reach into the mouth. Reaches in with his gloved finger and is like, sigh, guess I have to take my glove off. And I'm like, what? Like,
I don't know, Patrick.
What? It doesn't make any sense. Why do you have to take your glove off? You're reaching into a meaty hole full of shit. Like, what? What? That was just something where I was like, I don't even understand.
A lot of the things with the text don't make sense. Like, you live in a house of glass with constant surveillance. Why would you do the things that you do?
Because they can wipe the surveillance. That's the whole point. Okay, so that was the side point from the Elsie thing that I was going to make. If literally one group of people from that thing were doing their job, none of that would have gone down. Every single department is fucking up massively. And that is the only way that this goes on. I'm sorry, I had to make that point because I just like watching it. I was like, oh my god, deal with the problem. Elsie's the only one looking at that shit. Security Man is the only one who's actually scared about the goddamn
fact that they could kill us all one day.
Yeah, like, you fucking idiots. But yeah, back to the tech guys in the basement. I guess they're all basements. There is the constant security, but I think that also, again, almost all of the, like, virtually all of the surveillance is of the park proper. And the areas where, like, the public is doing stuff and, like, the hosts are active. And I think that the other stuff only gets looked at under very specific circumstances. And as long as you can make sure that there's no reason to have attention on you, it's good. And that makes a lot of sense from the kind of weird holes that are all over the place. That's why everybody's being able to fuck around like this. See, the one thing, though, is that I would have just straight put my foot down. If my work partner was like, I'm gonna go butt fuck this guy right now.
Yeah.
I would have literally been like, no, you are not gonna, as opposed to his work partner who's like, man, why you gotta do that, man? You're gonna get me fired someday if you keep doing this thing that you do every day that we've seen you do like twice already.
You've already been blackmailed for.
Yeah, like, that you're still doing, like...
There's a common misconception that hosts don't fucking...
Yeah, that it's not being recorded.
And then you chose to do it again.
Yeah, like... Oh, my lord. With the person who was blackmailing you dead. Like, those were, like, different layers of bad decision-making on that guy's part.
I'm still hoping that Elsie's not dead.
Oh, Elsie?
There's a strong possibility.
Oh, yeah. No. Elsie might not be dead. I was talking about Teresa.
Okay.
Who I felt bad about because, like, yeah, her goals were the corporate goals, but she also was trying to protect people and, like, keep shit running correctly. But, like, grand scheme of things,
she just mocked the wrong man and went about it poorly. And, like,
She didn't mock Ford. She's one of the few people who doesn't mock Ford at the beginning of the show. Because people keep making the cracks about our fearless leader.
Maybe not mock, but she doesn't treat him seriously enough.
Yeah. She doesn't realize how dangerous he is until the scene at dinner or lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Where they have the lunch overlooking the field.
Well, and even then, that should have been the final thing of like, all right, sorry, corporate, I'm out.
Either that or you need to immediately, like, figure out a way to hammer blow Ford. And unfortunately, her hammer was Bernie. Because Bernie is the ultimate tool until as soon as he activates, dog, Bernie is just going to take shit out. Like, I'm so waiting for that shit. I'm so waiting for that shit.
Sorry, you keep thinking of talking about him as Bernie, and I keep thinking of Bernie Sanders every time you do it. I'm like, all right, Bernard Lowe, 2020.
Bernard Lowe and Bernard Sanders together, fetching America. No, they do call him Bernie. Like, some of the people in the show call him, but Teresa calls him Bernie, which is why I got in the habit of it. I'd be like, fuck yeah, Bernie. Also, what's his goddamn face? Not Felix. Felix's partner.
I don't know.
Slack-jawed sack of shit. With the scruffy red beard and the cowardice.
This is just my face, I swear.
Yeah. That guy. I fucking called him Oswald. He'll always be fucking Oswald to me.
Oswald Copperpot?
Yes. You're not wrong.
The penguin?
No, he is not. He is not Oswald Cobblepot. But no, the actor played a really bitch ass guest character on Burn Notice named Oswald. Okay. So the second that I saw him, I was like, "It's fucking Oswald," and he disappointed me again. His character
so
was
he's
once
typecast as bitch ass
sack of shit. He did a great job playing both of these bitch ass characters, but this was literally just Oswald squared. So I'm like, I don't give a fuck what your name is. Your name is Oswald, and you'll answer to it. Shit.
That's something that's interesting and tough to decipher between sometimes when you like a character and they do a good job, and when you dislike a character but you're supposed to dislike the character and they do a good job at being dislikable. You're just like, I mean, I gotta give you props, but I don't like you.
Yeah, I fucking hate you, Oswald.
I hope you die.
I'd shake the actor who played you's hand. Like,
I fucking hate you. It's nice to meet you.
Fucking great. You fucking fill me with loathing every time I see your fat fucking face on the fucking TV screen.
I don't know how to take that.
You're fucking brilliant. You're the most objectionable fucking man in 3 states. It was like being in 10th grade and having my friend's dad, after I played Caliban in The Tempest, come up and be like, amazing job. I mean, you were born to play that role. You're familiar with Caliban from The Tempest, yes? For those of you uninitiated in the audience, Caliban from The Tempest is the son of a witch and the devil. He is a mutated, hideous-looking hunchback creature that attempted to rape the main sorcerer's daughter and has since been a vicious and scheming slave enslaved by the sorcerer, who then gets shit-faced drunk for the entirety of the play, comes up with a harebrained scheme to try and overthrow the sorcerer, utterly fails again, and then is left to starve on the island. I was born to play that role, apparently. But yeah, one of those compliments, like the one where it's like, you're really, really shitty at being a human. I mean it as a compliment, Felix.
Yeah.
You actually give a shit, Felix. That was one for me that they didn't set up quite far enough, but I'm assuming that they're going to explain more later.
Well, I
think
is
why Felix was so immediately ready to be like, yeah, dude! and then just let her fucking kill people. Like, I mean, by the time she started killing people, she had the reflexes and whatnot to be able to do it. But like,
well, they did talk about things loosely. A, he's extremely callow, and B, he sees her as sentient life at that point.
Felix? Yeah.
So he doesn't want to do anything to, like, directly oppose her because he's scared of her, A, and B, he doesn't want to end her or be a party to ending her because he realizes that that's life. But I would like some more, like, again, background with the world. Because, yeah, there's that whole, like, you are a truly shitty human being. And I mean that as a compliment because of what's going on in the outside world.
People suck.
And I want to know more about that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I see that line as more of, like, a callback to, like, oh, you know, why weren't you weeded out in the embryo and shit like that. To what's going on the outside, and we still don't know.
That's a very good point. And I like that interpretation, because again, it felt like they didn't go far enough into depth for me about why he was willing to start walking down that path to begin with. Like, they had the whole bird set up, so he was curious and everything else. But in the early stages where she's just like, please show me this thing, before she's really taken off, he's like, hunky-doo! Humberdy, and just does all the things. And I was like, okay, so we need a little bit more background about why he believes, why he was ready to do that. Which hopefully we'll get from the world stuff, because it could also be that idea of him being an outsider, of him being a reject for whatever the reasons are, genetic or behavioral or
always
otherwise.
Comes
whatever
back to Gattaca.
Yeah,
he's a real human being, and everybody else is.
He's a real hero, a real human being. He's a real hero, a real human being. And a real hero, a real human being. God, I hate the movie Drive. A real human being.
Nobody went down that road, Patrick. You drove down that road yourself.
I couldn't help it. I heard
you had the drive.
Human being, and it drove me.
Okay,
back
excellent.
to Drive. Nicholas Winding. Is it Winding or is it Winding?
I don't fucking know.
Nicholas Winding Refn?
I don't know.
The guy who did Bronson?
I don't know.
Damn it. Drive?
I don't know, Patrick. I don't know these things.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta look that up. Sorry, that was a total side thing. But yeah, no, I want to deal with more of the... It looks to me like it's essentially a Gattaca world. Like, the whole thing is going to be like biodomes, essentially. And again, like as they said, society is homogenized to the point where there's no outlets for those kinds of weird negative emotions. And that's why people are so like, just kill everybody. Whereas I'm like, I don't do that in video games. Like, I never do the straight chaotic evil run in video games.
I do.
Like, I'll do runs where like everybody who pisses me off gets shot in the face, but I don't really like. I'll do like a neutral evil run, but I still like. I like you. I'm not gonna fuck with you. I like you. I'm not gonna fuck with you. I like you. I'm not gonna fuck with you. Whereas those like the people in that shit are just bad role players. They're like, I'm gonna whip my dick out and shoot a bunch of people in the face and be like, it's like running around the first town attacking NPCs, and be like, well, you wasted your 40 grand, like.
Well, I mean, I don't think that they see it as a waste. A. B, they're also wasted in the actual thing, so they're not making the best decisions. And C, yes, there's a lot of things that are game-like to it, but it's also like the most sandboxy sandbox.
Yes.
There are less formal rules, so you can shoot the NPCs in the starting town and not give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get your ass kicked by the sheriff.
I mean, you can just shoot the sheriff, too.
Until it's nothing stopping you. Kick your ass. Like, that's actually something that I like, that they were like, yeah, they did a bunch of problems. Okay, well, have the constables lock them up and they'll spend the night in jail. And, like, they can just do that. Yeah. Like, if you fuck up badly enough in the first town, the higher level guys come and kick your ass. Like, which I actually liked as a sandbox system. Like, it's very clean. But it's, again, like, the whole idea that, like, the most of the people who go there just want the, like, simple, bullshitty. Yeah, I'm gonna get drunk in town and play around in these weird old-timey clothes and shoot a guy. Ooh-wee. Ooh, sex dolls.
And the weird duality of it, that some people go there for that and some people go there as a family vacation, and there's not really a line in between, because the fact that shit is like literally in the starting town, like when you get there.
You can do that shit in the starting town if you want. But yeah, they just separate it for people so that you have the like... I liked that they had the whole like, crap, family cut the treasure hunt short. Back in 20 minutes. All right, cool. Well, okay, clean them out. Family friendly fun. And administrating like 20 of those, which is what this is going to end up being, I swear to God, is just going to be absurd. Like, and is absurd.
Oh yeah, it is.
I can't even imagine.
And again, that's like one of the things that I have. I mean, you talk about the fact that nobody's really doing their jobs on any level, but there's supposed to be like this complete surveillance and manipulation of the events in the park. So how the fuck could that many things get through the cracks?
Well, they make the good point that as soon as Ford starts building the new narrative, they can't tell what... They're basically just relying on the automation. Because he's like, I'll automate it, don't worry. And then there's the point where she's like, look, there's literally hundreds of errors here. I have no idea what's what.
Mm-hmm.
So for the second half of it, they're not even trying to, like, consciously redirect anything. They're just trying to keep shit online while they're letting the hosts just behave. And that's a terrible idea.
Yes.
It's a god-awful idea.
But they still have, like, enough surveillance that they're keeping things under wraps and doing the technical effects.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you have William out in the boonies doing the whole thing with the fucking fake cigars.
Yeah.
So, again, like, it's become more of my problem with repeated rewatches, that what they show you and monitoring how much they show you and the little amount that they show you and wanting to see more and wanting to know more and wanting to actually be like, okay, this is reasonable, instead of having to increasingly suspend disbelief.
Yeah, I feel that.
So
well, I'll have to look at that on the rewatch and see how I feel about that, because I could see that, and I didn't have a problem with it the first time, because I was like, they made those specific plot points where they were like, they can't tell what's going on with this, they're understaffed, they're not allowed to respond to this. This is another thing obscuring vision, so it kind of makes sense to me.
On one hand, it's understandable. On the other hand, it's frustrating. That's all I'm
definitely
getting
feel that.
And again, it's something that to me got more frustrating with rewatches.
Yeah. Well, and even just something as simple as, like, this goddamn corporation. Like, yep, power's been out for 2 months.
We gonna fix it? Well, nobody's complained.
Are you serious? This giant, like, multi-billion-dollar facility, probably tens of billions of dollars poured into building this facility. The power goes out in cold storage for the killer machines, and you just don't turn it back on? Like, what? What? Which is, to me, the classic, the Corp isn't putting enough money into it. The Corp is like, they're good. And that happens a bunch with Corps. So I'm going to be intrigued to see if they actually, like, follow up with that and are like, what the hell? So there's every chance at the beginning of the next season, whoever of the board members who escape the massacre...
If they escape.
I'm sure some of the board members are going to escape.
I hope they don't.
Like... I would love that, but some of the board members are, like, definitively going to escape. But, like, if, like, when they get back, that's a great, like, okay, so, how in God's name, while you were, like, still monitoring the park, did you not notice this shit? Like, I could see that definitely being something that gets brought up at the beginning of the next season. But, yeah, being able to call in the explosions still. Though even that ends up dropping off after he busts... I feel so bad for Lawrence. Like, Lawrence is kind of a schmuck, but, like, I feel bad for Lawrence.
I do, but at the same time, it's also, like, really funny up until the end. Like, the end for Lawrence sucks.
Yeah.
But, like, all the other times, like, with him being blindfolded and, like, about to be put to death, and then he thinks he's going to die.
3 times
and
that happens.
And then, by the grace of William, who's not the person you want to be saved by in Westworld,
yeah.
you keep going.
By the grace of the will, I survived for
The
one
will
night.
of William.
Yes, by the will of William. Will you, William? Yes. All right. And it also explains the amount of animosity. Like, again, like, as I said earlier with Teddy, but, like, just his whole animosity to the situation was, like, my first time in Westworld fucked me up good. And since then, I've done every quest line. I am the max level character with max level gear who's wandering around trying to find something. Like, undead army, undead army. Yeah, I mean, the one thing is, like, if they kill off literally all the board members, like, I don't see any way that the park doesn't just instantly get closed.
I don't see that as a bad thing. Because conceptually, to me, the show's been about what is reality and the next stage of man. And the host essentially being that. Because that's something that Ford talks about.
Evolution. It's all mistakes.
So that the hosts, that basically humans in the current timeline have decided to stop making mistakes. Therefore, there's no evolution. Therefore, there's no improvement. And the hosts being the next iteration because they're man-made and there have been mistakes in perfecting it and trying to figure out what is reality, what is consciousness, and getting to that point.
Yeah.
So that's something that's interesting to me. And again, you've got these characters that are dealing with that set of circumstances and them going through the process of becoming more human or becoming the next phase of human.
Yeah.
And that's something that's interesting to me, and it's independent of the park existing as the park.
I think it's independent of the park existing as the park. The one issue is that if they really wanted to shut down, like if they shut down the park, the result of that, even if they don't have, like, guests coming in and whatnot, like, that's one thing. But, like, if the entire board died, that would be, like, everybody else on the board, like, taking over those shares, whoever takes over those shares, getting together and being like, okay, the robots in this thing literally went nuts and murdered the entire last board. We are sending in 10,000 troops, and they are literally killing every single one of them. And, like, I don't see a way that realistically ends with anything other than troops swarm the mesa until everything is dead. Because their infinite res ability only works because they are being restored by the core.
Right. No, I understand that. My thing is the rising up and killing, cutting off the head of your oppressor type thing happening in the park, and then them getting out. Yeah. Because the park is ostensibly on lockdown. So there's no information getting out from the park right now. Meaning that there's the immediate event happening, and then the aftermath of that. And the aftermath could be the host getting out in the real world.
I think it could also be the hosts getting into the other parks. Because each of the parks seems to be run separately. And I would love it if it was then, like, getting out into the full world. But again, like, I don't think that they're going to, like, they did too much setup for other stuff continuing in the park.
I just hate the board, and I want to see them die.
Oh, yeah, no, the board fucking sucks, dude. I hate the board. You barely even meet them. Like, you have, like, 2 interactions with them, and you're like, wow, y'all suck. Y'all suck, like, super bad. Like, the chick who's just like, let me take I'll just murder him. Isn't this good fun? And I'm like, God damn it. You are what is wrong with America. Kind of the overarching, message of the piece is that this is what is wrong with America. We're enslaving robots as sex slaves in a giant underground thing beneath Arizona.
Yep.
And, like, I'm still trying to figure out, again, is it an island? Is it a landmass? Is it just Australia? Did they just turn Australia into a theme park? Because, dear God, that's possible.
That would be awesome in a lot of ways. Although it's horrifying the implication that all the, like, natural life in Australia would be dead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's not a good idea at all.
Aside from that, I'm 100% cool with Australia being a giant theme park.
That's what's crazy. We don't know yet. That's what's crazy. We don't know yet what any of that is going to be. But just the hint of the mainland gives you so much more, especially considering the whole rant about, like, all the rants throughout it about, like, do you understand how big this park is? Like, where is the edge of the park? And also, there are neighbors to the park who get pissed off, which is something else that is going to have to come up, whatever that means. Especially if, you know, a bunch of the, I keep wanting to say replicants too,
Hosts.
a bunch of the hosts, just try to go sprinting off. Like, it's going to be an interesting thing to be like, okay, how actually is this geographically located? Let's deal with this, JJ.
But I think that's what the show has fundamentally been about, is the endless string of questions.
Yes.
And the fact that there's so many questions left makes me excited for the continuation of the show.
Absolutely.
And I think it's one of the biggest strengths of season 1 is that there was always that strong, like, cliffhanger at the end of the episode before that just made you want to dive back in.
There's the good cliffhanger usage, but also they tied off lines. Like, they did the cliffhangers, they did everything else, but it flowed so naturally because they were still resolving things. Every time that they were introducing new questions, they were logically introduced new questions as they were answering the old ones. So that you had this, like, kind of fluctuating tide where sometimes you had slightly more answers and sometimes you had slightly fewer, but you were constantly stacking that, like, building of understanding in the background. That ziggurat, that church steeple.
And it all comes back to the church where it all started.
Yep.
Where they learned how to dance.
When everybody got shot. Everybody. Wyatt Earp. I'm trying to remember if, because it might totally actually be the name of Yul Brynner's character from the original one is Wyatt. I just can't remember. That's something I would have to look at. But the writer and director on the original 2 films is, like, on the screenwriting team. They gave him a full screenwriting credit. And I haven't looked up to see if it's just because they are, like, giving him the nod because he originated the work, or if he actually
going
was,
full
like,
Scarface
on,
with it.
like, yeah, was, like, on the squad. So I'm not quite sure that. That's something I have to look into. But I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think there's going to be tremendous time between now and season 2.
Well, hopefully.
So I may go back and watch the original material, even though it's not direct, but just seeing, you know, what inspired where we're at now. And
yeah. No, I want to go back and watch both of them and watch the second one again. And, you know, comment on the fact that JJ's lens flares truly did add to the piece.
Shots fired.
I'm sorry, dude. I was watching through and I hadn't noticed it, but I was like, literally the last episode, there was this fat lens flare that was just sitting in the middle of the shot while the two of them were, like, standing there talking, and I was like, that wouldn't be out of place if there weren't so many. I guess there's 3 things that I have a problem with in it. Because that moment I was literally like, y'all should have turned off the lens flare. Like, it's literally just sitting in the middle of the shot, guys. And then I looked back through my mind's eye and realized how many lens flares there had been. And then was like, wait, it's JJ goddamn lens flare Adams.
See,
Abrams.
I got to the end of the show and then I was like, wait, he was involved in this. Oh no.
Yeah.
But I was still able to enjoy it.
I loved it. I think it's because it's what J.J. Abrams has tried to do with a few different shows, and he hasn't gone into it with a completely finished storyline. So, him being involved makes me apprehensive, but the fact that they actually scripted out the entire fucking show at the beginning makes me a lot less apprehensive, because now I'm like, cool. There's only so much cocking about J.J. can do.
And on that note, thanks for being with us. We hope that you've enjoyed the wacky world of Westworld.
Wide witches. Word. And yeah, go watch fucking Westworld, starring Yul Brynner. Good night.